Hey guys. Hey guys, what is up? I'm Melan and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So as you guys can probably see, I'm not in my usual setup. That is because here on YouTube and over on my Instagram, go check me out, I'm going to be starting a brand new series where you guys ask me any questions about social media or life or just anything in general, and I sit here and give you all the advice and tips on growing your platform, living your best life, and just being the best. Before we dive on in with everything, I just want to say a quick, huge thank you to everyone who has shown so much love towards this whole idea. It's been something that I've wanted to start for quite a while now, but I didn't really know how to get it going. But you guys have really shown me so much love and support with this, so I thought, you know what, let's just get on with it. Let's just dive right in and see how it goes. So grab yourself a drink, grab yourself a snack, anything, and sit down and come and chat with me about how to grow your platform as a micro-influencer. Another quick thing just before we dive straight on in with the tips and tricks is that there are so many videos out there on how to get 10,000 followers in 90 days and how to get 5,000 followers in a day. All of these crazy sounding videos that really make you think that they're gonna work. Obviously, some of them really do, and some of them can really help you build and engage with your following. But when I first started and I was watching these videos, honestly, none of them worked. I did find a few little things helpful and just interesting to know, but I didn't get 30,000 followers in 90 days and all of this random stuff that people put out there. It didn't work for me. I'm not saying it's not going to work for you, but I just want you to think about being real with it. But for me to have gotten to 10,000 followers on Instagram in a year was pretty good. Everyone on social media has completely different stories and experiences with how they grew. Some of them it took years to grow, some of them took weeks to grow, but this is just how I did it, and I just want to share my story and my journey. In this video, I am going to be a little bit blunt. I'm not going to be like harsh or anything, but I am just going to tell it how it is and how I went through it and what I deal with. This is just my personal experience, my personal opinion, so if you don't agree with it, that is fine. This is just how I experienced it and what my thoughts are on this whole situation. So of course, do not take any of it too literally. If you don't agree with it, that is absolutely fine. That is your opinion and this is just mine. So in this video, I just want to show you guys how I got from around 1,000 to about 18,000 that I'm on now. It did take me a year to get here, but I think that's a pretty quick turnover, and honestly it is a long game. There is no quick way around this. You just have to take your time, be patient, and keep posting. So let's just get straight in with the 3 key points that I think there are to growing yourself as a micro-influencer. The first one to me would be quality, and this would be about images and production. With images, you just really want to keep it clear, you want to keep it sharp, and just have a nice clean background. Whenever someone asks me about their images, I always suggest that they have a nice clean background. This doesn't mean having a clean and tidy room, because other things in the background can still be distracting no matter how immaculate they are. What I mean by clean background is having just a solid color. In my videos, I always just have a clean white background because that is just the general look. And then in my pictures, I usually have different colors. Of course, you can have a background like this where it's just your bed and your bedroom, but it is still a little bit too distracting unless it's super blurred out or there is some kind of props behind there. If you don't really have access to having a solid color background, which even just a plain wall, which is what a lot of people just use, then you can turn your room into some kind of prop. So with my background, I've got my LEDs on, I've got like everything is quite the same color and it's quite monochromatic, so it looks intentional. You'll really find that having a clean and crisp image will really engage with your audience, because people love to zoom in on pictures. They like to see the details, and if your picture is too blurry or too pixelated, it's just going to be a little bit off-putting. That kind of leads me into the second part, which is about what you're using to take your pictures with. Of course, everyone can use their phones. That is such a big thing nowadays. Phones on your cameras are amazing. I have an iPhone 8 Plus, and that I think has like a 4K video camera. So any phone you have will probably have a really high quality camera already. But when it does come to taking pictures on your camera, always use the back camera. Do not use the front one, because the front one is a lot less quality and it just really adds some weird kind of flattening, blurry filter. If you do have a little bit of money that you can invest in a camera, you don't always have to go for a big DSLR, which is what I'm filming on right now. You can go with a handheld camera. I'm going to keep the equipment sort of out of this video for the most part, and I'm going to do a whole separate episode just based on software and equipment. So definitely stay tuned for that, so I don't want to talk too much about it now. Also, when it comes to images, you don't have to just have a selfie. There are so many accounts out there that actually don't take any pictures and they just solely base it off of videos. There are also accounts out there that base their whole social media off of a macro lens that you can attach to your phone. This is amazing, and it gives some of the best quality videos that I've ever seen, and it's all over an iPhone 6 or something. So the next section of quality, I would go into the actual production of your work. So this would mean what you're doing, your technique with your makeup, and just making your makeup look flawless. You really don't want to rely heavily on Facetune or post-production because it's clockable. My work, of course I Facetune my work. Every single influencer out there edits their pictures in some way, whether that's from lighting or completely smoothing out their skin or just adding any filter over the top of their picture. That is editing. There's been such a bad rep for editing your pictures because of the few people that really went ham on it, but every single person edits their pictures. They smooth out a little bit, they edit over a few little details, but that is not a bad thing. With my pictures, I just enhance the colours, the vibrancy, I do smooth down a few of my pores, and I add to the details. But I do not touch the makeup at all. The makeup, what you see in my pictures, is exactly what you get. And that is really what you want to be creating when you're starting Instagram. You really want your work to speak for itself, and you don't want to have to go in and edit and add all these different things. So when you're doing your makeup, really just take the time to look at every single detail. Go really close up to the mirror, see if everything is blended. Make sure that you're spending 15 minutes blending your eyeshadow just to make sure everything is flawless. This just means you're not gonna have to worry about it later. People are gonna be so impressed with your talent and your skill, and it's just gonna be so much more interesting and personal. You also want to think about the end product, how you're presenting it. The makeup could be absolutely flawless, but your selfie could really let it down. So you really want to think about the posing, the lighting, what you're doing. Are you telling a story? Are you showing movement? You want to take every single aspect into account. And that is such an important thing, because then you're really telling a story and you're really selling the image to the people. If you're not really into taking pictures of yourself, flip the camera around and just film the details. Go super close up, film what you're doing, film like a little bit of movement, add some rhinestones, get a little bit of glistening going. Just do something. Everyone wants to see the fantasy and just everything come together, and that is really what will engage people. Okay, so moving on to step 2, which is consistency. Consistency really is king, and that is what every influencer says when they're asked for advice to start social media. If you think about it, consistency, if you're not being consistent and you're not regularly uploading or just updating your followers, they're just going to get bored and they're going to drift away. You really need to bring them into your life and make them focus on it and just feel like they're in it with you and just living life with you, and that will really gain a more engaging audience. When you're starting out, you really want to think about what is manageable for you and your lifestyle. How many days a week can you post? How many content pieces can you post? What is the easiest thing for you to post, and just everything like that. That will really make a difference later on, because you could have 2 weeks off and be like, oh, I can post every day. But as soon as those 2 weeks are up and you've got work again, you've got school, you've got uni, and then you sort of get a bit too busy, then it's not going to be attainable, and you're going to be posting once a week and you're going to be letting days go by, and people are just going to get a little bit bored and just start to drift off. You want to stick to a schedule where you know that even in your busiest days, you can still upload and talk to your audience. I would definitely suggest something like 2 to 4 times a week. That is probably the best sort of amount to be posting, but also post on your stories every day. Keep them entertained, keep them involved in what you're doing. You could be doing literally nothing. I sit in my garden. I just want them to hang out with me, see what I'm doing, and just living life. Of course, if you are feeling a little bit overwhelmed with social media and you really need a few days off, that is fine. Your followers aren't going to go anywhere. They're not just going to magically disappear because you didn't post for a few days, but you don't want this to lead up into something bigger. Think about it as your real job. Can you actually call in sick for this, or is this just something that you have to suck up and deal with? Because that is a lot of the time what it is. Of course, take them off if you need to, but don't take too long either. If I can film and I can post, then I will keep going, but Everyone has their days, everyone has their own sort of issues, so this is just my personal opinion. With this comes one of the biggest things that I was actually so shocked that no one else does. When I film about 2 looks a day, and I will batch film maybe 2-3 days in a row. So I'll have about 6 pieces of content just ready. But bear in mind, I only post about 4 or 5 times a week, so this is giving me a whole week and a little bit more sometimes of content in just a few days. So backing up content is the biggest savior of all time. So with consistency, there also comes consistency and engagement. Social media is not a one-way road. You need to be engaging just as much as people are engaging with you. So this means you need to be liking posts, you need to be commenting on people's images and videos, you need to be DMing people, you just need to put in as much work as they're putting in for you. And then for step 3 is authenticity. Social media really loves authenticity. I definitely made the mistake when I first started social media, and I'm still sort of making those mistakes of trying to be who I think you guys want me to be instead of just being myself. Everyone falls into that because that is exactly what people see every day from social media influencers. They see a certain sort of personality, and because that is getting views and engagement and just everyone is praising that person, they think, oh, I need to be that for me to get this engagement too. You really just need to sit behind the camera and the screen and just be yourself, because that is when people really start to notice you and they'll really start to engage with who you are as a person. Also, I think everyone's seen it on social media, but replicating personalities does not go down well. If you do it too much, like it's funny for a skit or something, or just like a few times, it's cute, but then it kind of gets a bit weird. So just watch out for that. Just think about how people are gonna see it from their side. A big thing with me, even now, about replicating personalities is what you think might be cringy in your personality might be the thing that actually makes your career. You could be really goofy or nerdy or anything, and people could love that. You might watch your videos back and be like, that is horrible, I should just private this, delete it, don't let anyone see it. But that could be what people love and what blows up your career. Another thing that people really love to see on social media is talking about your insecurities. Just talking about one thing that people can relate to. So with me, when I first sort of started, I was talking a little bit about my acne and sort of just my acne journey. I would update people with pictures of my worst breakouts and sort of have it in like a comedic way, but it was still just putting out there that I have this issue and this is just what I deal with. After I kept posting a little bit more every day about that, my audience started to grow and people really started to comment on it. Obviously, there are always the bad comments, but I started to get a lot of people sort of praising me for it and saying that this is what they're dealing with too, and it's really refreshing to see someone who goes through it actually putting themselves out onto social media with these issues. So definitely keep that in mind. What you think could be your biggest flaw or insecurity or anything could really help another person, and that is such a big thing with social media. Social media should really be a place where you can help other people and you can inspire other people with just small insecurities like acne. My acne journey has now become a really big part of my social media, and I'm keeping everyone updated with my medication and my skincare and everything, just really trying to show that this is what I'm going through and this is my journey. So just be real as a person and be real to your followers. So I want to jump back to consistency, because this is where another huge aspect of social media comes into place. If you think about it, if you're not using every single aspect of social media, let's say Instagram for example, if you're not using lives and stories and posts and videos and everything, if you're not being active on their platform, they're not going to really notice you. You really want to show that you're there and you're active and you're engaging with not only the people but also with the actual platform itself. I don't want you guys to sit down and watch this video and think, okay, this is gonna just be super easy, I'm gonna get 10,000 in a month. This takes time, it takes money, and it just takes a lot of patience. I think that is the biggest misconception about social media, that you can just blow up overnight. Of course, there are people that really do blow up overnight because of one viral video, but that doesn't always mean that they're gonna stay there. I personally, and this is just my personal opinion, think that the slower you're growing in a steady rate, that means that you're gonna be there for longer and you're actually gonna be in the community more permanently than someone that quickly suddenly blows up and has everything overnight. Of course, that is just my personal opinion. I don't know if that's true. That is basically just a conspiracy but that's just how I think of it. So those are the 3 main keys to growing yourself as a platform. And this isn't just for micro influencers. This is for any type of influencer or anyone who's just trying to grow a platform. These 3 key points go throughout the whole time of being on Instagram. It's not just to get to a certain number, but this is what you need to be thinking about constantly, and also how you can adapt on it and how you can upgrade yourself with your content and with your quality. And that means investing in lights, investing in backgrounds, in equipment, everything. That is where money becomes quite a big thing on social media. Once you do start to make a little bit of money, it doesn't have to be from social media, it can be from your part-time job, it can be from birthday money, literally any money that you sort of start to get in. If social media is something you want to take seriously and really want to grow in for the right reasons, then all of that money should really just go into investing in your life. With me, any money that I got from client makeup, birthday money, just any money that I was getting in from my part-time job and everything, I put straight into makeup and social media. Save a little bit for just things you need, like bills and everything, but just try and save a little bit for investing. And trust me, I see so many people complaining about they don't have the money to buy all this equipment and they're not rich and all of that. It's like, I'm not either. I'm not making any money. I'm a uni student. I don't have a part-time job anymore. I'm taking social media as my #1 thing at the moment. And these same people that are saying that they don't have the money to invest in their careers are the same people going out every weekend, going out for dinner every night. It's just, it doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. If you really are passionate about this, you're really going to see what you need to prioritize in order to maintain and improve on your career. So then just going into a few other key points from growing yourself as an influencer. A really big thing to do when you're quite small and you just want to get a quick little bit of engagement and just get yourself seen pretty quickly is jumping on trends. Trends are a blessing at some points. If you are one of the first few people to just jump on it and get seen, you can really start getting some good engagement. But do not take this into your everyday posting. Don't post a trend every time you're uploading. It gets boring, it gets a little bit unoriginal, and it just isn't very interesting after a while. I would definitely say if you're gonna jump on a trend quite regularly, at least try and change it into your own sort of aesthetic instead of really just replicating other people's work. And of course, credit them if you do that. A big thing with Instagram and the algorithm is that there are so many lies out there about the algorithm. There are lies about hashtags and views and what counts as engagement, what doesn't count as engagement. But I have been really lucky to be able to talk to Instagram themselves, and they've reassured me that everything counts as engagement. Every single thing that someone does on social media is engagement. A view is engagement, a like, a comment, a DM. Every single thing that you use on that platform is engagement. There's also all these different misconceptions about hashtags. Hashtags are quite a tricky one to play with. Sometimes I find that hashtags where I'm doing like 20 hashtags can really work for me, and then suddenly my engagement crashes and then I have to use 3 to 5 hashtags and then it brings it back up again. But they have said that 3 to 5 hashtags is the best sort of amount that you should be posting, and they should really relate to what you're posting about. You also want to switch up the hashtags a little bit, otherwise they can look a little bit too generated and just robotic, if that makes sense, and just spammy. So every now and then I do change my hashtags. I try and use different ones just to really add a variation to it. Another really good one is using brand hashtags. So if you go onto a brand's page, sometimes they'll have it in the bio, but if not, just go through their posts and just see what sort of hashtags they're using regularly, because most likely they're going to be following that hashtag and they will see your work. You really just want to build friendships in this community. It is such an important thing because it can be a pretty lonely career. That is something you should really know about social media. You see all this sort of like hanging out and going to events and all this, but behind the scenes it is pretty lonely. You're at home, you're filming all day, you're editing all day, you don't actually have that much time to be going out and seeing people and talking to people. So building a friendship, even an online friendship, is really important because it will keep you sane. So again, just be really patient with it. Just take your time, invest in it, and just soak it up, you know? Like, this has been a year and a half, and I'm only just on about 18,000 followers, but I have been putting in the effort every single day. Of course, I've had my off days, I've had days where I've taken it off, I've had a few weeks off sometimes, but overall, I've put in the effort, I've been consistent, I've been engaging, I've been upgrading my quality every single time, and that is just what it's really about, just learning more about social media. So just to quickly summarize everything I spoke about in this video, I'm gonna put them up on the screen so you can quickly screenshot it, write it down, whatever you need to remember it. So the first 3 key points: quality, consistency, authenticity. Quality, make sure you're putting high resolution imagery out there. Make sure your makeup doesn't need over editing just to be presentable. Focus on your talent and your skill, and focus on your production. Consistency, post regularly but keep it manageable. Don't start over posting just because you have the time and then later down the line you have no time anymore. Make it manageable for your schedule, even in your busiest days. Be consistent in all aspects of social media, liking other people's posts, commenting on other people's posts, replying to your comments, replying to your DMs. Just be consistent as a person on social media, and that will really show that you're engaging and you're here to stay. Back up content, that is so important. Back up so much content so that you can get to a point where you can take a month off and still be posting on Instagram. Authenticity, be yourself. People will respond so much more to you just being you. What you find cringy could really be the light of your personality and be the thing that draws everyone to you. Be real with people, be raw, talk about your insecurities, talk about your feelings. Don't overdo it, don't make it too negative, but just make sure that you're showing them that you are a normal person and that you go through things yourself too. Social media is not a one-way road. You need to be putting as much effort as people are showing you and show them back that support. It does take time and it takes money. It takes investing, and that is what can take time too. It is this cycle of time and money, but once you get into it and once you sort of like have a flow, then it will work out. Don't expect everything overnight. It will take you a while. I mean, the biggest makeup and beauty and fashion gurus out there and everything, even other social media influencers, it has taken them a few years to get to where they are, and now they are some of the biggest names in the industries, but they put in the time and they put in the effort. Trends. Jump on a trend as soon as you see it, but don't limit yourself to just trends. Try to interpret them in your own style, in your own aesthetic, so don't keep replicating other people's work. You could have a flawless talent and skill in recreating another artist's work, but then that just looks like you don't have much originality. Hashtags, switch them up, see what works for you, see what really engages with you. Change your account to a business or creator account, and then you can check your insights. That's just going to really see what is working for your posts. Build friendships in your community. This can be a really lonely and just silent career path, but if you have those online friendships or friendships in the community or other industries, it's just a really good support system. And finally, if you put positivity out there, you'll gain that back. You will gain back that love and support that you show others. Okay guys, so that is it for today's episode of Advice with Milan. I'm so happy with it. I really just loved sitting down, talking to you guys. This is one of the questions that I get so often, so it's just nice to do this not in a live video and just here where I can keep it up and you guys can always just go back to it if you ever need some more advice. Definitely leave a comment down below what sort of advice or tips you guys need from me. This can be about social media, this can be about life, this can be about anything that I can help with, and I will definitely try to film it for you. Definitely hit the subscribe and like button down below and tap that bell for post notifications so you never miss a post, and I will see you guys in the next video.